There's one main goal that I believe we're trying to look at. It's how are we understanding each other better and using our means to better interface with the world, get the answers that we're expecting. You think you've seen examples of sort of a good thing? You know how to build certain things. You're even seeing a world come out of building the exact thing in which you're kind of dancing around. The ubiquitousness of low-cost information, low necessity of effort in so many cases that we start to experience some form of major difficulty in periods of transition. Certain feats of optimism which honestly are missing from our world in so many goddamn ways that I wish we could protect people from panicking. I'm extremely excited about something that I don't know. Do something that changes the way that that's perceived. The point is, people are fucking terrified to talk to each other, so siloed, entangled, in a time noted so difficult. Convince someone as if you're given the chance, right? Have a best guess or a best form of alignment of how that person may want to be received. Have a moment that's so good be lost. Convince not one person in the world is interested in sharing a moment with you, which I think is a fucking lie, and I think it sucks. I think it sucks that we've become, in difficult times, panicking asocial beings in places in which deserve the pleasure. Many people are choosing to simply do what they do best, and sadly that's sometimes not what is necessary, which is why that's scary. It's why when that thought is missing from friends, from relationships, from governments, it's a complete rotting of a communicative system, which is the terrifying part. Is if the thing that saves the system is the communication, what do? You panic, you work harder. That's stupid. That's just going to rot you. So you have to find people. In my opinion, you have to find real people, and you have to ask them how they feel about the same issues without miscommunicating what you're trying to get at. And that's not something that everybody does consistently well. I don't think I said even that correctly. There's sometimes, if I could be given the words to say, I wish I could do that instead of cower and let the times go by. You should have said at least something instead of not, which is I think a piece of remorse that too many people feel. Right back to the beginning, that's something that is not unsolvable. That's something that is not hidden from all people. When you slow down, when you're not tired, you're not hungry, you're not a desperate fuck, you take the time to figure out and feel remorseful. If the world is as if we try all those options, is there a reason to believe there is some shit not being uncovered here? Why do you act normally? Why don't you try doing something more so that makes you and the people around you reliably and sustainably do better things together? Watch how stasis defines the reactions to how you operate in the world. Why aren't you interested enough in a world so clearly ready for a good thing? I think it's because we do not actually hear each other. We are terrified of a literal and omnipresent sort of panopticon, something of a bright flashlight. Is there a way that can be outperformed? We're gonna record until this thing drops. Short interviews on media literacy, basically trying to interact with the population. This is my own YouTube thingy. It's got about 10 people watching, so it's not huge at all. Minnesota. I'm from the Twin Cities. How do we actively navigate, say, the internet right now, with whether it's with YouTube, whether it's with TikTok, whether it's with whichever media you might use to gather information? what tools are you using, or what mental sort of exercise do you do to protect yourself from certain misinformation?
I definitely worry about it, especially for the younger people. I'm in my 60s, so I think the way I protect myself is by actually not following closely or not much into social media.
Yes.
I mean, I have a Facebook account because keeping up with friends. I do have an Instagram, not much there. No TikTok. I try to select the sources. I think there's so much. So typically I will go to a curated source that is for profit, like a newspaper or.
You value the fact that you still get to choose, in that you use that and exercise choice.
Absolutely.
Right? Do you think we forego our choice in our consumption?
Yeah, I think we often do, but I think it's an error of omission. I mean, because we're bombarded, and it takes effort to think about one more thing and to be selective, and also takes exposure. So I have a young daughter, and she grew up with us, and we listened to KQED. Like in everything else, in between all the noise and all the garbage, there's good stuff, and you have to seek it out. And I think it's partially, from your culture and your upbringing, your education. It helps that I'm not much into sports. It's fun to watch sports. Sometimes my friends try to teach me baseball, and I had fun watching the Giants. It's not my main thing. So I listen to. I also come from another country. I speak, several languages, so I watch also international news. I read The Guardian.
Some of my videos I talk about identity is a function of effort. Just like you're saying, when you're desperate and you're only able to take in little nuggets of new knowledge, you're trying to solve what you're doing, you're desperate, you're hungry.
Partially social pressure, and I think it's also maybe lack of norms or looser norms. Sometimes I'm in the company of younger people, and I want to tell them, I don't always speak, but I say you don't have to behave like that. Your social standing does not depend on full acceptance or uniformity.
The dangers of mass appeal.
Exactly, what everybody else is doing. So you can be your own person, but it takes, maybe later in life, they will understand that. They care about, the girls, right? The boys care about the girls. Of course. Yes. You keep also in check by just changing the channel or switching off or,
Diversification so that you don't become monotonically or monotonously involved in just one spectrum, just one football thing, just one political element. More so, add some depth, some breadth. I took way more than 60 seconds, but thank you so much for chatting.
Of course. Thank you, Chase. Okay.
Yeah. There we go. Would you be fine holding on?
Yeah, sure.
Sweet.
To just speak into this?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
If you see the mic portion, like the little grill, if it faces you, it might do better, but it's first trial, so who cares?
Yeah. No worries.
So, interested to hear about your opinions on how you navigate new information online, how you basically protect yourself as well as express yourself, navigating that difficulty of, say, misinformation, showing your identity, building that identity, and all. I guess start with your name and what you're all about.
Okay, for sure. Hi, my name is Idam. I'm 29, and I just moved here a year ago. I work in tech, just like super high level background. So yeah, it's an interesting question. I guess if we're to break it down into, well, you said a bunch of stuff, so I'll break it down to the first part I heard was, how do you navigate the internet? Sort of what are my patterns? So mostly I use the internet, kind of like you did mention, just to kind of keep up with what's going on. And that could be like Instagram Reels, like Twitter, Reddit. Those are my top 3, I would say. And yeah, as far as like, okay, I'm also more of a lurker. I don't really post as frequently. So yeah. So to your point about misinformation and like it's like if most of my usage is consumption, I would say like 95%. Yeah, the content that I consume tends to sort of, I have noticed, converge towards the same sort of like ideas.
Sure.
Which is, you end up having an echo chamber. And I guess when I do try to like verify, I do usually ask like Claude or like, I try to read up articles about stuff, but I am always like kind of questioning myself.
It can get complicated, right?
Yeah.
And so with what you said there, like that phrase, like keeping up with it. Myself, I 100% accept that I am sort of in that keeping up because I want all of this.
Yeah.
Is that a misleading thesis? Does that trouble you sometimes? It's like, how do you navigate what you should keep up with? Of course,
Yeah.
it's academics, or if
Right,
it's inside
yeah.
of work or career, and that's good, but
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, this is obviously easier said than done. I try to curate my algorithm as much as possible, like actively liking stuff, actively sharing stuff.
do you wish you had more control over that and it was less nebulous? I guess, like,
Yeah.
I always wonder in some way that's like, why is there not more autonomy in
Right.
that front,
Yeah.
I guess?
It's one of those things that I do wish there was more autonomy. Like I wish I had more agency. But at the same time, I know that if I were giving more agency, it would be overwhelming. If you wanted to have to pick every single thing you see, it's so many decisions per day, and I already feel like I'm overwhelmed by the number of real decisions I have to make. So it's almost like, as much as I say I want this, I feel like a part of me is okay with it being outsourced. One thing I am noticing is there is, for better or worse, like a trend towards sort of like micro communities on the internet. Not like, but it's not like highly cohesive communities. It's just people who have the same sort of taste in a bunch of different things.
Very powerful communities.
Yeah.
And very, very powerful things come out, which not enough people get to maybe hear about. There's a lot of incentives for people to feel panic, as well as a lot of incentives to do well. How do you best use media? Say it's TikTok, say it's Twitter or X, say it's any of these. How do you best prepare yourself to either have a good time or learn something that isn't trying to take something from you, essentially? How do you best navigate and protect yourself as well as express yourself?
Yeah, so I think I'm someone that uses a lot of social media, honestly. I'm pretty active on like TikTok and Instagram as like a poster as well as like a consumer. And I think that I learn a lot through TikTok, whether that's like learning how to make pottery, like watching videos, learning how to improve my skiing skills. So I think that social media is a great way to pick up something or like hone your skills.
Are you in spaces where you're often helping dictate what you see, or are you often consumed by what you see?
I think there is an issue of like feeling the need to keep up with society, because you're just seeing content from people who seem like they're so much more successful than you or doing so much better than you in terms of career and money and stuff like that. So I do think that's something that I have to like keep in the back of my head when I watch these people's videos, and being like, you're on your own path and you're doing what you're set out to do, and you don't have to compare yourself to others.
What do or who do you usually go to? Is it someone close to talk about those issues?
Honestly, I talk to my partner, my boyfriend, a lot. He's like pretty good at humbling me or like bringing me back to reality.
Yes.
He'll be like, these people probably grew up very differently than you, or they went through maybe some hardship. You don't know what they're going through.
It's like,
content
here's
creation.
perspective.
Yeah,
in
content
this
is
way.
just like a highlight reel. So I do think that my partner and like also my parents bring me back down to earth. Yeah.
So you have good partners that
Yes.
try to just echo off,
Yeah.
what am I and how do I love that better?
Yes, yes.
Instead of having the world just say, whatever,
Yes,
follow this,
yes.
or something to that effect. Okay. How do you keep yourself sane as well as present yourself online? Or do you choose to involve yourself in a big picture? Or do you purposely try to keep yourself protected? Or how do you navigate that sort of competitive social space?
I think my online persona is definitely a lot more aspirational and a lot more edited
Sure.
than I would be. I think it also very much depends on which platform even.
If I go across the spectrum of TikTok, Instagram, Snapchat, and something like Discord or a group chat thing where you have super privacy and super into the social society, what prevents us from making more centralized communities about that? Or what stops us from being able to share ideas better?
I think like one of the quotes I really like is like, if you put 10 people in a room to decide on an ice cream flavor, you're going to arrive at vanilla. Distributed spaces are so interesting because there's a lot more room for nuance. And, you know, I think that room for nuance kind of coincides with the privacy, also knowing that you won't be able to get mobbed.
As a whole, our identities and how we sort of fragment them to present them into the decentralized space, and how we know we're human. We know we want to enjoy these spaces,
Yeah.
but we need to better understand how to navigate that privacy factor and the expression to make sure we all know we're living and not sort of isolated
Yeah.
in those ways.
No, for sure.
Today, I'm trying to talk with everybody to figure out how they like to enjoy the internet. You dip into the right community, you're around the right people, that you feel better than when you joined, right? And we want to collectively find more of those moments. And so I ask you, how do you try to find those moments?
Okay. Yeah, it's a good question. Yeah, I'm on like the typical social media sites, so X, Reddit, what else? Discord, YouTube. And yeah, what do I do?
Should we pick one of them maybe? Like YouTube, for example.
Okay.
When you're being catered from the algorithm,
Right.
do you feel in control when you navigate something like YouTube?
Yeah, when I see what's recommended on YouTube, I actually often think I get a lot of interesting content. And then I also watch like a, I guess, video with my wife. So I'm logged in on the TV for YouTube. So I get we get the recommendations from me, but we have to, like, if we watch together, I guess we have to navigate. Yeah, we have to find something that we both like. Sometimes I do searches for like specific things. Maybe things that happened, like recent news, and then I want to see some more footage of it.
It's a problem that makes me wonder when you're trying to find good information.
Right. There's creators I guess I trust.
Yes.
And yeah, just from experience, I would say I have a feeling for what creators produce content that is more on the entertaining side versus more on the that's probably like well researched and so on.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I don't really read the comments, but yeah, I agree. I think I mostly I kind of try to not consume the short form content on YouTube. I try to stay away from that as much as possible. Otherwise, I still get I consume the stuff that's recommended to me. Sometimes I look for tutorials or do actually like search for specific information, and in those cases I don't really think I have like a recipe for
protecting ourselves.
Well, or like judging how good the content is. I guess I just like click on a bunch and then see if I get from it what I'm looking for. If I look for a tutorial, let's say,
All right. Well, I think that was a pretty good starting gun, and I think it's a good time to sort of break down the experiment. Well, for one, you have me sort of attempting my best at communicating my sort of anxieties about our incoherence, our sort of existence of so many a good thing with so many traces of people's inabilities to interconnect or wire them up to many a solution. Even going out into the world and talking to people about their discontent of these systems and the variety of mechanisms they use to defend and protect their identities and such, from sort of varying privacy, as we heard, becoming a both producer and consumer to help dictate what you get surrounded with, even using sort of omission, sort of saying, I don't need this fire hose, I can sort of cut through the noise. All of these things are tactics that we generate for ourselves, sort of engines to really make sure we're not either being taken advantage of or we're just experiencing the internet incoherently. It helps tie things together in a way that makes things not feel like a mess, but rather, like any complicated high entropy thing. It's loud, it's messy, but you pay attention and there's a lot of good things happening. This tool, this overlay, this weird thing that's trying to provide for you additional information as you explore this real-time engagement, whether it's my own speech or whether it's the communication with others in an interview form. The main idea is that we react, we learn, we desire to do things correctly. The process of unwinding a moment into the other things in which it could be is something in which so many people are really bad at. Human cognition desires these on a high level, these optimizations, these minimizations of cost. We desire such well-made, coherent, linear, parallel paths. However, it is not a mystery that there is many, many benefits to diversification of thought, of sort of the lateral thinking, the sort of break the issue down to reduce fallacy, reduce sort of accidentally emboldened lies through our sort of archaic mechanism of communication. My goal is not to subvert narratives. My goal is to make it so that power cannot be strangled out of a conversation simply out of the consistent sort of expected, normalized patterns of communication. So many people show me how dangerous it is to get locked into these systems. Yearning for diversification is what I think will bring to us an ability to cross-examine many of the behaviors in which need to be examined a little bit more deeply. So please understand, this is the starting gun. I view this as something that's worth it to work hard on. I view this as something in which I, myself, my friends, my family, everybody's struggling with this.